it happens to be a key important feature in the process of UX design because it gives us an insight of the step-by-step guide that a user is going to follow, or the step-by-step guide that a user needs to follow to go around the application. Now, in creating flows, for your users, we have the user flows and we have the task flow. I'll come again. In creating flows for your users, we have the user flow and we have the task flow. When I talk about the task flow, the difference between task flow and user flow is that task flow helps the user understand a particular feature in the application. So if I want to develop a task flow now, I am developing for a particular feature. So say for instance now, I'm building a savings app, and probably in that savings app I have this savings plan. Probably let's call it Save Better plan. You understand? And I did my thing, built it out, how it's going to work and how it's going to help entrepreneurs build. Now, if I want to develop a task flow, I can develop a task flow for how you can successfully use the Save Better plan under my mobile application. Now, that is a task flow. Now, user flow is you generally building out, all the processes, all the possible processes that a user needs to, follow, or that a user can follow, emphasis on the can, that a user can follow to achieve, different tasks or different, actions on your application this time around. So now, if you take a look at my screen, you see a diagrammatical representation of what a user flow looks like. Now, in today's class, we're going to be talking about different kinds of user flow, but let's stick to this diagram. Now, if you look at this diagram, it's as simple as this. So for instance, in this first screen that we have here, when I click on this top box here, it takes me to this page. Then if I click on this other guy, it takes me to this page. If I click on this start button here, it takes me to this page, and click on this next button, it takes me to this page. Next button, it takes me to the success page. Now, that is what a user flow is. So for instance now, if I want to know, or if I want to test if users actually understand the flow of my project, when I have something like this, I could share it, and I could probably give some tasks and say, okay, try and carry out this action, and you watch how the users carry it to know if they actually understand the flow of your design. Remember that what we are trying to do here is we're trying to learn how to build beautiful experiences for the users. So if a user is trying to use our application or our website and they don't know their way around, that means we've started giving bad experience. So that is why user flows are very important. So you articulate these flows, make sure that they are very simple, simplify them as much as you can, you understand, before you start developing. So it will not look, and one of the advantages I've seen for user flows so far is that it helps you know the number of screens that you're going to be building for. So when I know that, okay, if in this application now you have to log in, from login you have to enter an OTP to confirm that you're not a robot, I've been able to articulate all those things in my user flow. Then I'll come and I'll start building for these things. Am I communicating? I'll come and then I'll start building for these things. So I already know that, okay, I need to build a login page, I need to build an OTP page, then I will now come and build an home page. Then probably I'll start building all the features in my home page. Like if I click on the hamburger icon, where is it going to take them? Because I've articulated all those things in my user flow, I can start building for them individually. Now let's take a look at this. So the purpose of user flow is to help understand how users move through the app or website, identify potential bottlenecks, and determine where you need to make changes to improve user experience. User flow can be helpful for both new and existing apps and websites, and can be used at any stage of the design. Now let's take a look at the different types of user flow we have. Number one is task flow. I think I talked about that. So like I told you, task flow basically built for a particular feature. So now, this is a diagrammatical representation of what a task flow looks like. So you can see if we click on the enable, it should request, and then when the request is sent, new request has been received, and then we can approve and all. That's a particular task flow of how that particular task that's probably enabling an option or something on a platform would work. Now, task flows are often parts of a more significant user flow that shows a single task performed by the user. The task flow will not display the entire solution flow, but focuses on one major task and shows the way to completion. So it just focuses on one major task, one major feature, one major thing in your application. And then task flow, most of the times, not most of the times, but always, task flow, most of the times, task flows are not always built. Like, I think when people decide to build task flows, is like when you have a new feature. Like, I have a friend of mine who decided to use Kuda Bank as his case study, and he created some nice stuff. He came up with some nice features. So in that kind of thing, you find out that you have to now build a task flow for that new feature you're creating. You understand? So users easily understand. So before you build those you have to be able to, have a task flow that will be very clear to you that this is very simple. And of course, you can share it with some other people to know if they actually understand the task flow. Now, if they don't understand, or if they are questioning it at some point, now it simply means that something is wrong somewhere. You understand? So basically, task flow is just used for showing the flow of a single task that will be performed by a user. Now, another type of user flow is wire flow. Now, this is an example, So wire flow are like blueprints for digital screens and touch points. They allow the team to understand how users will interact with the applications. They provide all the information necessary to proceed with development and save time when changes need to be made. So these wire flows are like flows that we develop in our wireframe stage. So it just helps us to understand, okay, these are the basic touch points, these are the basic interactions. So when I click on this, what should happen? When I click on this, where should we go to and all? Now, wire flow helps you understand the interactions, like the general. Of course, you can do this when you have you can do this in your low fidelity stage or in your high fidelity stage. So your low fidelity when it's just wireframes, or in your high fidelity work when you're done with your designs and you're trying to prototype and add interactions to buttons and all. You understand? That is equally a flow. So you can equally say that prototyping your work is a flow. I mean, that's okay, that can go. Now, the next type of flow is the UI flow. So the UI flow helps you imagine how users will navigate through your application. It's lightweight for quick iteration and it's easy to understand for non-technical members. So basically, when you the UI flow is like the most commonly used. So for instance, when I develop for a new feature and I'm trying to build a new stuff, it's very easy for me to just develop a UI flow. Now, the UI flow is just like probably there's something new that I have, right? There's something new that I have on the application. So I'm just developing a flow for that something new. But this time around, it could exist in the high fidelity work or in the low fidelity work. But the idea is to enable non-technical persons, that's in the sense like these people who are not tech conversant, to understand how this thing works. Like, you're trying to use the flow to present them a new feature. Do you understand? You're trying to show them the flow for a new feature. So an example of a UI flow could be when you log into a new application, and then there is this onboarding thing they do to take you around the app. Most of the apps do that. So they will tell you, okay, quick tip, or let's take a tour or something. And then they will be giving you things, and then they'll be highlighting where those things are. That's an example of a UI flow. Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
All right. So now let's go. Now, user flows are essentially a visual script of your product. With this, you can map out the specific interactions and paths each users will take to reach their goals. The mapping helps designers better understand how to design a site's UI or user experience and to use them to meet the goals. Now let's take a brief look at why user flow is important. Now user flow are important for quite a number of reasons. I think I've mentioned like 2, but they help visualize user experience and how they move through your app or website. So they help to optimize the experience that users get on your mobile application. So remember that we are not just building nice aesthetics, we are equally considering the experiences that people are going to be getting from using our websites or mobile platform. So this actually helps us to visualize how this experience is going to be like. So if me as a designer, I can't even simplify my flow, so why would somebody who does not even understand how technical things work understand the flow? It's just a simple logic. So you as a designer, you have to do the first work of simplifying these things. The process of you get a mobile device now, you download an app, you click on login and sign up. The truth is there were people that actually thought about these things, and we could have been backward in age whereby we don't even, maybe there could be something else other than sign up. There was actually a time I was working on that. I think sometime beginning of last 2 years, I was figuring out, and that was when I was studying about thumb zones. I think it was because of that study that made me start thinking that way. So I was thinking on something. I said, okay, we already have like the sign up button, that it's very rampant. So people just know that, okay, we have a sign up button. You understand? And then we equally have like the fingerprint, which became a trend of late. So you have a mobile application, instead of putting in your email and password, you can sign up. Thanks to Google and some top tech organizations that now save people's passwords, so your devices always remember your password. So once you put your fingerprint, it unlocks it in seconds. Now I was like, okay, what about being more interactive? Like, this is my mobile device, right? If I'm using this phone, like, I can have a rough day, you understand, and it won't take me like 2 seconds to just probably use like a pattern, you understand, to build my let me know if I can find that work, so I'll show you what I mean. I can't remember the name, so I can't remember. It's been a while. It's been like 2 years. That's why it's very good for you to name your files. I would have loved to show you that, but so I was like, okay, users can actually use patterns to log in. Sorry, hold on, let me know if I can see that thing. Users can actually use patterns to log in. Although I think I didn't finish it, because why I didn't finish it was because I had to call my friend who is a developer, and I was asking my friend, okay, look at what I'm thinking. Can this thing actually be coded? Because if that sign up field, but I think he was, I don't know if he was like running from it or something. But can't find that thing now. Try. Can't find it. I can't find it. I can't. Okay, I can't find the file. But what was basically there was like me trying to figure out like another way that we can use to sign in. So what I did was I said, okay, instead of just having your sign in button, when you try to enter into the app for the very first time, you understand, you can just put in a number, your favorite number that you can remember, right? And then you can put in your phone number or just a name or something. Then you can set a pattern. Now a pattern could be some node points in your screen that you will always touch, you understand? So if, for instance, I want to log into my application, there's already a pattern, a touch pattern, do you understand, in my screen. So once the login, instead of you to see email and password, you just see like note points, and you now just need to, figure out, your touch pattern. Now, in a case where you forget, your password, it now needs to ask you for that unique number or the unique name that you put. But I think I chose number. You understand? Because I was thinking that it's possible because I didn't want it to be like full name. So I was thinking that it's possible for someone to have like for instance, now I can use Uche, and somebody else can be called Uche, and that person will still use 4 as their. So for the database not to conflict with, a lot of users, then we need to use numbers. So we can give you freedom to pick as many numbers so far you can remember. So when you forget your password, you can always use those numbers to remember them. So that was what and it was very interesting that time. Like, I was thinking about a lot of things just for a sign up page, So that's how this thing works. So when you get interested in something, you just be thinking about it, and you try to figure out like different ways, like something, different ways to do something that people do daily, but probably in a simpler way and in a different way. And that's what I would consider as, innovation and all. So now let's continue. So So secondly, user flow helps to track the user's progress through your app or website. So you can use this data to identify where users are getting stuck or dropping off and make necessary changes to improve the experience. Now, user flows can help you to test and validate your design assumptions, and which of course is what is mostly used. So after creating your user flow, you can send it out to people for them to help you and test, and of course validate what you already have. So that's what a lot of persons use it mostly for. So now, how do we create this user flow? So this is how user flow looks like. So now let's look at probably how to do that. A user flow diagram illustrates how users move through your website or app. It can help you identify potential pain points or areas where the users might get confused. So to create a user flow, you need to map out all the different steps a user needs to take or complete a task. So first of all, I usually advise, like, I think that's like the easiest way. So if I want to create a user flow now, I make use of my pen and paper. So, and I don't need to put them in boxes or shapes, like you see here. No, I just write it down. So from this is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, then probably on my system now I can start putting them in boxes and using those symbols and all. You get? But if you're good with, probably you want to be doing it in real time, thinking, and then fine, you can be creating the symbols and then you're putting the actions. You get? But if you want to do something very fast, which I always do, while trying to create my flow, I do most of them on paper anyway. Except it's a complete project that I now want to show the working, then I'll start putting them on the system. Now let's look at how to map out a user flow. Now the best way to start mapping out a user flow is this can help you visualize how users move through your app. We already know that. You want to consider all the steps that users might take and how you can make each of them smooth as easy as possible. Now, examples of user flow, best practices when using user flow. Alright. How to start user flow process. Okay, yeah. So let's look at the key steps of user flow process. So user flow process is, first of all, understanding how users interact with your product. So that's like basically the process. So when I want to, create a process for a sign up page, what are the processes? So it simply means that the user can sign up. When you click on sign up, you're putting your email, your password, you can confirm password, you can put some other details depending on the kind of application it is, and then you can click on sign up. You understand? Now, if you're already a registered user, you can click on sign in. So I can give them options to have a secondary button there where they can equally sign in if they are already a registered user. So now it helps you understand how your users interact with your product. That's one of the good thing about user flow process. So by understanding their journey, you can design product that makes the experience as smooth as possible. It's also a great way to troubleshoot any potential problem. Now let's look at the few steps in user flow process. Number one is to identify your user types. That's your audience. Identify the audience that you're trying to build a particular kind of product for. The same way, so just imagine that anytime you want to use WhatsApp, you have to always log in. Can you imagine that kind of thing? Like you might find WhatsApp not so convincing to use. Social media applications are applications that I want to use on the go. So people are sending me messages like probably in every 1 minute. So does it mean that every 1 minute I have to log in and all it gets? So it does not have that feature of you can only once you sign in, it registers that your device. So it sees that okay, this device you're the owner because you've signed in on it, and it gives you access to that application anytime. Except you now want to use like two method verification, like probably your biometrics, for people that have biometrics phone. So you now give this feature of okay, anytime you want to enter, instead of you putting a password, you just put in your biometrics. Hold on please. Alright, so are we on the same page now?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So you need to identify the user types. That's the audience that you're trying to build product for. So WhatsApp does not have a login page because of the kind of audience, because of what people use WhatsApp for. So imagine that I'm trying to always use WhatsApp like every 1 minute, and I have to log in. Even my phone uses biometrics, and my biometrics is in front of my screen. So I even find it very challenging. I know there was a time I put biometrics, so I use my biometrics to open my WhatsApp anytime. I had to even remove it because it was so stressful and annoying. So I want to reply a message, I'll have to come and put my biometrics first before I'll access WhatsApp. I felt like it was so stressful. I had to remove it. So now I just click on my WhatsApp, it opens, and I access it just like that. So I feel like that feature, the way WhatsApp structured it, it's actually okay. So unlike probably your bank apps, your bank apps are more security conscious. So even when you've logged in, like let's just say I logged in, I put in the password and everything correctly, there's a period of time you're going to stay in the app logs out immediately and will request that you log in again, for security purposes. So they understood the kind of people who are using it and what they are using it for, you understand? And they prioritize security because they know that okay, if I'm keeping my assets here, if I'm keeping my money with in this particular place, I need it to be secured. So regardless, take measures that will secure my assets. You understand? So aside from that, you need to understand your user goals, which is what I just explained now. What are the users doing with this application, and all. Then you map out the user journey. So the journey is like step-by-step guide of the flow of how this user is going to use to achieve a particular task or a process. Then identify the pain points or friction points. Well, I think the pain points in mobile WhatsApp now is that sorry, the pain points in WhatsApp now is that because people frequent, sending chats, right? They might not want to be putting passwords, so they made it optional. You understand? If you want to set your biometrics, fine, you know. So, but I tried the option, it didn't work for me. Although, well, let me not be that I'm saying a lot of things about WhatsApp, but I use WhatsApp a lot, so that's why I always use that bone of contention. Now, design solutions to the pain point. So, yeah, they made the biometric option optional. Now, there are apps that it's not optional, you must log in before you have access to it. And example of those apps are like your banking apps. You understand? If I open my banking app, leave it here, just go outside, stay for like 5 minutes. If I come back, I must log in to access it. Understand? But if I open my WhatsApp, I can leave it here, go outside, come inside, go outside, come inside. It will still be like that, because that's they identify the pain points and they design for it separately. Then afterwards, you test the solution. I hope this is clear enough. Do you have any questions? Any questions so far?
So, yeah, please can you go back to the number 4 when you use the WhatsApp as an example?
So
Identifying
yeah,
anything.
identify any pain points or friction points. So now the pain points in WhatsApp is people use WhatsApp a lot, you know. Like I use WhatsApp, a lot of persons, not I, a lot of persons use WhatsApp like every 1 minute because they probably need to reply a chat, check up what's happening on a group, or probably view a status or something like that. So if you find out that when they are putting passwords, you understand, constantly, it becomes a frustration to them, it becomes a pain to them. You understand? Like I gave you an example of me, I tried biometrics. Biometrics is easier, so I just hold my phone and my hand is on my screen and boom, it opens. But I still found that very stressful. I still see it as a very stressful process. I had to now remove the biometrics. Even my phone normally, if not that, I just feel like okay, it's okay to have security on my phone. You understand? Normally I wouldn't have security on my phone. And one of the features of my phone that I enjoy is that it recognizes my face, so it opens with my face. So I don't even need to stress myself to put the hand thing. Once I bring it close to my face, it opens. And most times when I notice that this phone did not open, I start complaining. I'm like, what's wrong with this thing? And I'm putting the fingerprint or the pin. You understand? But that split second is giving me, let me call it a bad experience. It's giving me a pain. It might not be so recognizable, you understand, but it's there. You understand? So those are identifying your pain points. So it means that when it comes to that area, WhatsApp did their assignment. So they understood that users will have this kind of pain points if we make logging into this app constant. So what they now did was they made it optional. And the options are for people who have access to fingerprint options on their mobile devices. So if your phone can, use fingerprints to open, then on the settings you can set WhatsApp to use fingerprints as a security measure to your WhatsApp. You understand? So that was them identifying the pain points and then trying to design the solution to the pain points. So after they identified the pain point, they now designed a solution for it. Solution for it was vast of our users make use of WhatsApp and they don't like, signing in and signing out all the time. But we still need to be security conscious. So what do? Let's design the thing, put it into the application, but let's make it optional. So anybody that wants it, then it's you that put it. They didn't make it mandatory like other applications, like other banking apps did. So in a banking app, whether you like it or not, you must log in because we need to confirm that it's you. We can't just leave your mobile bank open like that. Anybody can access, scroll, probably do a transfer. I can just come into your WhatsApp and I'll send a message. Funny enough, I'll even delete the message, but the receiver has seen the message, and you will not even know that somebody has done that with your device. Yeah, so those are solutions, designing for solutions as regards to the pain points that was identified. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So why do we use user flows in UX design? So in order to design effects, I think it should be clear now. It just basically helps you to understand the process or how users interact with your product. That's basically why you use the user flows in UX design. But in order to design effective user flow, you must first of all understand why UX design is in the first place. Simply put, user flows helps to show how users move through a product or system. Now, this helps you visualize user experience and how they interact with your design. The information is incredibly valuable when it comes to identifying any potential pain points and areas that users might get stuck. So you can start making changes that will improve the overall user experience. User flows are extremely useful when, first of all, you need to create intuitive design interface, evaluate interfaces, and present your product to clients or colleagues. So basically, this is an example of user flow. Now, I really want you to be flexible. You understand? Like, as you can see, these are different kind of designs. So meaning that you can actually design your user flow to be anything you want, so far you understand. But personally, I don't actually make my user flows like this complex. I feel like this is a little bit complex. The way I understood user flow and task flow is that it has to be simple as possible. So I'm trying to know if you understand the flow. I'm not trying to make it somehow beautiful or something. You understand? So I use the basic shapes and probably the basic things that I think like, okay, it's trying to communicate my idea here. You understand? And I create it. Now you of course can still go your own length, do your own thing. We are in the world of creativity, everything is possible. But the general idea is to simplify this process, that everybody can actually understand. So in conclusion, a user flow is a visual representation of how a user interacts with a mobile app or a website. By creating and mapping out user flows, you can better understand how the users move through your product and identify areas for improvement. So now, I think basically that's what we have here. So now let's jump into. So I'm going to share another document. I will send you this link in addition to the links I've already sent to you.
This particular one.
Yeah. So, but I have a PDF document that I use in teaching user flows. I think I just need flowcharts. Yeah. So now we're going to I think in the early stage of this particular document, I'm just going to talk about the basic things we've talked about that link. Why I had to make use of that link was I just found the illustrations and diagrams useful or helpful, but in my own PDF I didn't put illustrations. So let's just go through it. But the main thing we are grabbing from this PDF is to understand the symbols that we use in flowchart and what they mean, because that's what we're going to be using. So if you notice in this document, share this stuff. Now in this document you'll be seeing like different symbols, different symbols here. So we're going to be looking at these different symbols, what they mean, and the actions we can use them to take. So when I'm using some particular symbol, anybody that understands how a flowchart works understand that, okay, this symbol is for this symbol is for this. You understand? So let's take a look at it. So a flowchart is a picture of separate steps of a process in a sequential order. Now it's a generative tool that can be adapted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
It's a generative tool that can be adapted for a wide variety of purposes and can be used to describe various processes, such as manufacturing process, administrative or service or project plan. Now, I needed you to understand that a flowchart is not just for design. We can use it in different. You can use it even in your workplace. It's just you understanding a step-by-step process of how this thing is going to follow, and you map out like a line system to show that, okay, this is how this is going to work. It's just like creating your to-do, saying that, okay, from 8 to 9 I'll be having this class, from this to this I'm supposed to be doing this, from this to this. That's your flow, that's your day flow. So it is used in product design to determine a step-by-step process for an ideal product. So elements that may be included in the flowchart are a sequence of actions, material or services, entering or leaving the process, inputs and outputs, decisions that must be made, people who become involved, time at each step, and the process measurement. So when to use a flowchart? Use a flowchart to understand how a process is done, to study a process for improvement, communicate to others how a process is done. Use it when a better communication is needed between people involved in the same process, to document a process when planning. So these are when you can use a flowchart. So what are the basic procedure? I think we've talked about this. Okay. But it's the same thing, but let's just look at it from this perspective. So first of all, you define the process. Like I said, paper and pen. You first of all articulate and say, okay, from here to here, I'm supposed to do this. While I teach, I normally still like to tell people, like, okay, this is how I do this, and this is how it works for me, because I've come to realize that there is a lot of processes and there are different ways that people do things out there. Now, I might not be able to say, okay, this works for them, but since I know I've tried it out and it works for me, I would like to tell you, okay, this is how I do it. So probably, since you've not had an idea or you've not done it before, you can just follow that same process. Do yours, get it done, and then when you fully understand it, you can now be proficient to build stuffs yourself. And I think basically that's how it works. When years back, like there about 12 years ago, when I was still trying to learn graphics design, I remember this story because the first guy that taught me graphic design, I saw him yesterday. So when I'm actually very, I think he no longer does design thing now. He's now into sound management and all. So but that time he was doing graphics, so I was always going to him to teach me. So, but he still knows graphics, like, of course he should now. So it's something that he already knows. So the methods that he taught me, why design, like the processes that he says, okay, when you want to do this, what I did was I just learned that method, and it happens that I became so good with those methods, and over the years I've been able to create my own methods that I feel is way better. You understand? Of course, it's actually way better. But the only way I was able to do that was I actually understood what he was showing me. You understand? And then the moment I understood it, there's one thing that happens when you understand something, especially when you're using that thing every day. Once you understand something, your brain now opens to possibilities. Because I know countless number of times I was designing with that same method, and my brain would tell me, okay, if this thing is actually possible, that means I can try this option. And you see me, curious me, I'll just start trying. Before you know it works. And I actually work in this organization where I equally teach people graphic design as well. So most times, like, okay, why I'm saying this is there's this set of students that I didn't start teaching them. So I had to take over from someone to start teaching them because the person was transferred to another branch. So now, when I took over, so I was trying to so when I'm trying to show them something, I'll be asking them, okay, can you do this? They will say yes, that they've shown us. And I'll be like, okay, what's your method? Tell me how, you are shown to do it. Now, it's very easy for people to teach you and they will say, okay, you go here, then you come here, and then. But that's not actually my own pattern. My own pattern is, if I'm designing, I know there are different ways to achieve a particular thing. So I know that if I want to create a rectangle, I can probably go to the properties panel, or probably go to any different kinds of panels, for me to create a rectangle. But what I'm checking now is how many clicks do I need to make before I create that rectangle. Do you understand? So somebody can make 5 clicks and they create a rectangle because they clicked on probably object, then scroll down to rectangle, that's 2, then they now draw the thing, that's 3 clicks. Then I'll check, okay, I can actually use like 1 click or 2 clicks to achieve the same action. But instead of clicking once, I'll probably double click and then draw my rectangle. Now that is how I was trying to understand my own design patterns, and it was working well for me. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you understand these processes, these procedures now, and you have a clear picture of it, then you can start trying to create yours. And in the process of creating yours is actually where mastery comes in. So first of all, you have to define the process to be diagram, write its titles at the top of your work surface. Now you can discuss and decide on the boundaries of your process. Very important. So because I've seen I've seen a lot of flow charts that ended up being complicated. That ended up being complicated. So just discuss the boundaries. Like say, okay, I'm going to show this detail. I'm not going to show this detail. You understand? Just because what I want to achieve from this flow chart is I want anybody that sees this thing to easily understand that this is the process, this is the flow. You understand? So be able to decide the boundaries of your process. Where or when does the process start? Where does it end? Decide and discuss on the level of detail to be included in the diagram. Like I tell people, like flowchart is not designing. Do you understand? Make it simple. Use the simple shapes. Get your job done. You understand? And it's still a go. You don't need to start doing the design thing. After wasting time to do that, how long will you now waste on the main design? You're still going to do wireframes. You're still going to do the main design. So except it's like, because there are some projects that last for months, that span for months, and this is serious, so we have luxury of time. So if you say we can work on a flow chart for like 1 month, yes, except we are doing that and we want to document everything for future use. Big companies like Google now, their flow charts could be detailed, documented, because they are like leading companies, so they have to detail these things so that other people can actually look up to them and all. Yeah, except in those cases, but the process of building them is still very basic. Brainstorm the activities that will take place. Write each on a card or in a sticky note. It still boils down to paper and pen. Then arrange the activities in proper sequence. Now this is like where the work is. So after you must have written this down personally, just write, because why I like doing that is if I'm using my paper and pen and I'm thinking and I'm writing down, I could think about little details that could enter into the process. Some background things that could make that process, work. That is even when, like I told you, I was trying to work on the pattern sign up page. Then I had to call my friend who is a developer to ask him if this is workable. Reason why that was possible is, okay, I could picture this, but what I couldn't exactly picture how the coding part is going to work. Because as a designer, I'm equally building something that can be coded. So I didn't exactly picture how the coding part could work. And I already figured out because I was just trying to reason in full detail how this is going to work. So I had to reach out to a friend of mine who codes. And then he said his own from his own perspective. So when all activities are included and everyone agrees that the sequence is correct, now draw the arrows to show the flow of the process. So flowcharts will always have arrows. Arrows are what is directing us that, okay, this flow is moving in this direction or is moving in the other direction. After that, review the flow charts with others, include the process. Example, like if in the process we have worker supply, what's that?
You could draw a flow chart of a product, now, something you want to design, right?
Yeah, flow chart is the same thing with user flow. Don't confuse it. It's the same thing. Okay. The other one was using user flow, and I was saying using flow chart here. It's the same thing, please. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's just. So don't worry about drawing the flow chart or the user flow the right way. Ultimately, the right way is the way that helps those involved to understand the process. Chicken, and that's just what it is. And I keep hammering on this. I see people like they draw. Okay. There are times you can actually draw rubbish in your user flow. Because I had one of my students that I told her that she shouldn't worry about drawing user flow the right way. Like the way she drew it is anyhow you draw it, so far you understand that okay, this is that's right. The person on a legit just did something that anytime I remember today I still laugh. And she backed it up with I can understand what I did, so it's the right way to do it. You see
Okay,
that she did rubbish literally. Like it was so funny. It was so funny that I had to now tell her that, madam, please come. This thing you did is not it. Don't go and say that I told you that anyhow you do it is the right sign. You not be doing wrong. You know, like from the left hand side. Normally, from the left hand side, it's supposed to show that if you move towards the right hand side, it is sign up you're going to see. But her direction will be moving from sign up to, you know, to open page. The directions are so that's why we're going through this, so we understand the right way to do it, and once we understand the right way to do it, we can continue doing it. So identify and involve in the flowcharting process all the key people involved with the process. So this includes suppliers, customers, and supervisors. People who can actually perform the process should do it. So always get people who can actually perform the process. So now let's look at the main place for this PDF. So what are the commonly used symbols in a detailed flowchart? Number one is the rectangle, which is the most popular one. Now this indicates one-step process. So when I'm trying to show that, okay, this is a one-step process. One-step process can include login, is a one-step. Sign up is a one-step. Now the steps are written inside the box. Usually one arrow goes out of this box. So in any one-step process, there's always a one arrow. Follow me closely, this is very important. There's always a one arrow leading out of the box. And that one arrow now will lead to the next process that is going to take place after the previous process. Now the arrow is the direction of the flow from one step of a decision to another. Now the area where your arrow is facing is showing that is the direction flow. So don't put your arrow in a reverse direction and you're expecting people to understand that, okay, don't worry, you can ignore. Or don't put arrows like you put a head arrow in the left hand side and you put another head arrow in the right hand side. It becomes a wrong flow because two processes cannot move both ways at the same time. Do you understand? Except you're trying to show, okay, from this, maybe when I get to the home page, in the home page now I have the home button, this one button, the other one button. Then from the home button you can now come down to a one process flow. From the setting button you can come down to a one process flow. It's only in those cases that you can have arrows in multiple directions, and of course it's self-explanatory because you already have one arrow that was dropping down and then that one arrow splitted into 3 or 4 should I use segment now, or 3 or 4 lines to show the 3 or 4 features that you have in that particular home page. Now the diamond shape is the decision based shape, so it answers the question of yes or no. So the question is written in the diamond. More than one arrow goes out of the diamond, each one showing the direction the process takes for a given answer to the question. So it always answers the question of yes or no. So anytime we have the diamond, just know that it's a question. So example, imagine with me, I open an app. In this app that I have opened now, 2 things has to happen. Is the user registered? That is a question. Is the user registered? Hold on. This thing said. So now, it answers 2 questions. So for instance, is the user registered? You see that this is a question and it has to, answer, or it has to fulfill the yes or no option. So if yes, the user is registered, what should happen? Take them to the login page. If no, the user is not registered, what should happen? Take them to the registration page. Do you understand? Do you understand how this thing works now? Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it answers the question of, it answers the question of yes or no, So anytime you know that, okay, the yes or no option has to be fulfilled before a user can proceed, to the next stage, then we use yes or no. You understand? So for instance, now if I'm working for a add to cart, if I'm trying to bid for an add to cart, what's it called? What's it called again? I want to buy something online. If I'm building a flow for an e-commerce platform, and I'm trying to just build a flow for how users can actually buy a product online. Now I can build the flow, but once I get to that add to cart now, I can have a question, and that question could be, is there money in the user's account? Do you understand? If yes, continue transaction. If no, I could probably decline with a message that okay, you don't have insufficient funds, or probably I could send them to where a page where they can add money to their account to make such transactions. I'm sure you're familiar with these things, you've seen them. So I'm just trying to tell you, okay, this is basically how it works, and this is how we build for them. So now, this two-sided rounded rectangle means delay or wait. So when you have two sides of the rectangle rounded while the other sides are sharp, it means that we are delaying or waiting. So we can have a process where okay, there has to be a delay for transaction to be processed or something. When there are some things you want to do, you know that there must be a delay because there has to be a confirmation. We can now use that symbol to denote delay or wait. This other one that looks like a parallelogram, right? Yeah, a parallelogram. Let me use that. It simply means input or output. So in this case, where probably you're going to, I don't know if you make use of Google Drive, you understand, you want to upload something. Let's just say you're applying for an interview or something. That space that they will say upload your passport or upload your CV or something, if that place is important, if I'm showing a flow for that system, now I'm going to use this parallelogram to impute that okay, in this particular stage there has to be an input, so there has to be an upload. Now in a case whereby okay, I want to show that okay, this is a success message or something, I want to show that okay, at this point I'm going to give users success message for a successful transaction, I can equally use this input, this parallelogram to show output, to show that okay, something is going to come out from the system. The system is going to give you an information at this stage. Am I communicating?
Yeah.
So this other one that looks like this, but I think it's but I don't know, it looks like this shape anyway. It's the document or file. So the document, and I think in different flowchart systems or wireframe systems, we have different symbols that symbolizes it. But when you look at it, you understand that okay, it's like a folder icon, or it's like a document icon. So if in a case that okay, in this particular place I am going to show a document, or I'm going to show anything that is related to a document or something, in this particular stage, I can use that to denote the symbol. Why the oval or the rounded rectangle or rounded rectangle shape shows the start or end point. But follow me closely. If I start with the all rounded shape, it simply means I need to end my process, end my task flow, or end my process flow with that same rounded rectangle, rounded oval shape, because that is what I started with. If I start with all rounded rectangle shape, you understand, it simply means I need to end with the all rounded rectangle shape. Don't come and say since oval and all rounded means start and end, when I'll start with oval and then end with all rounded rectangle. It's not a professional way of doing things. So if I was to scrutinize now, or if you were to be scrutinized like probably in an exam, and you're being asked this kind of stuff, you understand, you don't say because they mean the same thing, so you can start and end with anyone you're starting with, just make sure that's what you're ending with. And that's like the standard professional way for creating flowcharts and their symbol meaning, you get. So I think, do you have any questions?
This other document or file, sorry, I didn't get that one. You said it's for what again?
this doc it's for, like, for instance, if there's in your flow chart now, there's a document, right,
Mm.
or a file, do you understand, that is going to be at this particular point of flow. Maybe you can, for instance now, let's say a loan app. You're trying to get finance from a loan app. If you first of all open the loan app, it's going to bring out a document. This document could be terms and conditions that will tell you the privacies, what they have access to. You just scroll up, so then click on agree. Do you understand? Now, if I want to show a flow for that, I can use this document, like onboarding screen, document. From documents now, grant access. From grant access now, is the user registered? If yes, login. If no, registration page. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So in different scenarios, depending on how you want this mobile application, how you've thought of this mobile application or website to work, you will now know where and what to put it. The main thing is that you understand the symbols and what it means, so you can now be flexible, you understand, using them. You understand? And then, of course, if you see other user flows out there, other standard user flow, you can be able to read it, because you understand, okay, this is what this means, this is what this means. And if you see anyone that is wrong, you'll be able to identify, okay, this is actually wrong. This particular process or symbol used here is actually wrong.
Okay, can you like give me? Do you have like an example where you actually use these symbols?
Yes.
Or
We're going to do an example, just a simple one.
okay.
I wanted to say something, then I forgot it. Okay. Okay, let's just do something. So, can you think of anything that you would like us to create a flow for? Just any process.
What about doing now? The project we are both working on.
No, that one. I want you to do that one as an assignment. So that's why I don't want to do it. Um, all right. Let me just share this stuff. So I normally like creating my flow in FigJam. Reason because I think it's easier and it's flexible. But some people do it in Figma. Everything is possible. I just go for the one I think it's easier to work with. And the FigJam has all these shapes that we've talked about, as you can see. So this, like, here now is like the file, this thing that I was trying to tell you about. So different applications have different ways they represent it. So what can I think of? What can I think of? Okay, let's create a flow, you know, that will enable users upload a video. Okay, let's use YouTube. So let me streamline it so you can imagine. So let's create a flow that allows users upload a video. Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Now, anyhow I think about this, or anyhow I decide to approach this, could basically be correct, because in this case now, it will be my own approach to the solution. Are we on the same page? It will be my own approach to the solution. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So first of all, now let's say I would I have a rectangle here, and then I could say, let's say they make a video, right? Do I want to use these colors? Okay, let's just say they make a video, and from this make a video, let's just say they edit the video. Now from this edit the video, okay, after they must have edited the video, let me make it super simple this time around. After they must have edited the video, now they will try to upload the video. You understand? Now watch. I've clicked upload the video, but is that all? No, that can't just be all. So I'll bring this down. Let me just make it down. The direction doesn't matter. Yeah, I just want you to be seeing everything on the screen. So upload the video. Now I have to ask a question: is the user registered, or is the user signed in? Do you understand? Or yeah, or is the user signed in? Whichever one. Then a question mark. Now you will agree with me that this is not a question. This does not answer a question of yes or no. So we'll now have to switch this shape to our diamond. So I have this here. So I can have this. Is the user registered? So I can have here. Where should we take them? So if no, registration page. Let's take them to don't use registration page. Use sign up page. Is user registered? If no, sign up. If yes, login. Okay, let's go like that. So so if I want to add the no option now, what I have to do is on this arrow now that is here. I see my screen. When I click on this arrow now, I can click on this plus icon here. It will add this text, so I can type no here. You know, so I have something like that. So then I have to change this shape to a process. If no, yeah, sign up page. Then this, I'll have this to be if yes. Now I can, if you feel like the arrows are too long, I can reduce them, right? Just yes. If yes, login page. So now I'll change this to this. So once the login page would request for okay, so from login page now they can go to, which one is this? So I can take them, since they've already started an action. Do you understand? I might not take them to the home page. Do you understand? I might not take them to the home page where they will find probably other things, see other things that it's on the home page. Instead, what I might want to do is I want to take them to the dashboard where they can see their video, and then they can click on upload button. Are you with me? So once they've successfully signed up, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to come to this guy, then I'll use a connector. That's my arrow. We have the connector tool here. and I'll connect from this particular guy, and I'll bring it to this guy, and I can lead it to this guy here. Yep. Just bring it like this. So once you sign up, it brings you back to the login page. Then you can log in, and when you log in, it takes you back to the dashboard, and then my process continues. So from dashboard, I could go ahead and say navigate to from dashboard. They can I'm thinking of, I don't know if they should open a video editor, but it depends on how you want the dashboard to look like. You understand? It depends on how you want the dashboard to look like. So okay, yeah, from dashboard, let's say we are going to have a finish button, finish edit, finish edits, and then I can just take this back to this place, and then I'll say upload video. So so basically this is a simple flowchart of how a user can actually upload a video. Now I can decide to start and end this, but the reason why I didn't really end is because this is not like an exact starting of a process flow, but since that is what we are working on, I can use that, and then I can use this shape, and I can come here, click on this, let's say start, and then I can switch the shape, and that's just it. So basically this is how a flowchart system looks like. So if I want now, I can upload video, I can use the same color. Simple. It's that simple. Now I can call this a task flow, because we are showing how a user can complete a particular kind of task. This page, or you're going to open this page. When you open this page, you're going to come to the home button. In the home button, you're going to see an add button. When you click on the add button, you're going to see upload video, create new video, make new video, all those options. Then I'll now come and click on upload video, create the process flow for it. I'll now click on make new video or edit new video, create the process flow for it. Do you understand? That generally now is called a user flow. You get what I'm saying? But basically this is the process. You get? So what you just need to understand is the symbols and what they mean, and then of course use your paper and pen, document every single thing that you think it's possible. Then you now put them into the shapes like this. Follow it one at a time, and as you're doing it, make it look very simple and a way somebody can easily understand. So if you take a look at this, even if you're not text wavy, once you just go through it, you understand that this is what it means. Now it becomes very confusing when I click on this arrow and I come here and I change the direction of the arrow to probably from this to something like this. When you do something like this, I'm confused, because I'm reading that okay, if I upload video is usually registered, I'll come back and look at it. It will take me back to upload video. You understand? So the direction of your arrows actually matter when you're trying to build up your flowchart. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So as a take home assignment, you're going to. I think there's an assignment that you're supposed to do, your problem statements and all. Were you able to do that?
You didn't send me the thing again. You said you send me how.
So I'll send you what?
said you send me something I'll use to be able to create my own problem statements.
Mm-hmm. Please, if I say I'll
You did
send
not
you,
send me.
if I say I'll send you anything, tell me, my brain. Especially this week. Creating problem statement is not hard now. Problem statement is, you know, the problem now. You put it in a statement that this is the problem. But just like I told you, the standard way of doing it, I try. You know, whenever I'm playing this thing, I used to remember some difference for when, where. You understand? But it's basically who, how, and when. You understand? That it answers. So the document I said I was going to send for you is so that you see examples. You understand? The only reason why I said I was going to, I have a document that I already prepared for that before, but that note I wrote it on a paper. I used to carry it with my book in my bag, but I think I lost that paper. So I'm going to find the video again that I watched where I learned that thing from, and I'm going to send to you. You understand? So I will check. I'll check for the video again. I'll check it today, probably immediately after class. I'll just check, so I'll send, so I don't really on that. Get, but for now, okay. Let me send you today's class the link. Ouch. Yeah, I can do that now.
There are two links, right?
The PDF and the link document, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to send you 3 links anyway. Then there's another one I saw on Medium. I felt like it was very it was documented enough, but it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing with all we've learned. The thing is, once you understand every single thing we've learned about UserFlow, you can actually do a lot of things with it as you wish. So, but it's still circling the same thing. So, but since we are talking about UserFlow, I'll send to you so you can just read up, so you have an in-depth knowledge of it. So your assignment, it's create a user flow for the thing you're working on, the project you're working on. Create a user flow. From what I've seen so far, we've been able to from what I've seen so far, we've been able to create our empathy maps, come up with interview questions. See, these things we are doing in that your project there, be documenting them. Now, if I were you, research on case studies. I'm going to send you samples. Do you understand? If I were you, I'll start creating those case studies as we're doing this class. So by the time we are done with this class, you already have a complete case study. I'll send you samples so you can see how you can structure these things into sentences. The things we're doing in class, you can structure them into sentences. You know, you've been able to create your interview questions, you've conducted your basic research, you've gotten opinions, you built your user personas. You understand? So the next thing now we're doing now is we're building our user flow. You understand? So this will be your assignment. Try and come up with your user flow. Now, if you're doing it and you're confused, you know, along the line, don't worry, you can always reach out to me, or you can just do it up onto the stage where you are not confused about, because user flow is equally you thinking about possible solutions, possible features. So I can be saying, okay, instead of putting this button, instead of making people click like this, they can actually click like this. So you're figuring out the process flow, and from there it's going to influence the kind of designs you're going to be developing. Are we on the same page? I'm saying
Because I should design the user flow. I don't really know things that we're going to add inside the.
Yeah, that's why I said if you get to a point where you are confused. Now, see, that's what I want you to understand. That's why I had to say all these things I said now. I understand that you might not know, but it's at this stage you start thinking about it. I know you're waiting for me, you understand? So we'll come together in class and we are thinking, but I want you to still do your work. Thinking is not hard. You already have some interview questions. You understand? that you've generated. You already have some goals, and you already have somebody that we imagine that, okay, we could relate this thing to the person. Fine and good.
Mm.
Now we are building a medical app that will help give people access to easy med care. You understand? Think out, how can we give people healthcare access easily? As you're thinking it down, write it. Just be writing it. Do you understand? Those are the features. Those are what you're building for. You get the idea?
Okay.
So you don't need to. It's not a big deal. Your brain is actually bigger than that, because one, you already know how the health system in this country works. You understand? I'm sure you must have gotten health attentions 1 or 2 times. I'm sure you must have seen some of the things about this health thing that you didn't like.